It's working now. Do do do. Mm 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 mm. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Ooh. Okay. Mm 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 mm. Mm mm mm. Do 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 do. Do do. Do do. Do do. Do do do. Do 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 do. Do do do. Do. Do 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 do. Do do do. Maybe we should do some more Alan Watts today. Maybe. I said maybe. You're gonna be the one that saves me. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Do 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 do. Let's see. Wow, has this been on the whole time?
I was discussing the disparity between the way in which most human beings experience their own existence and the way man's being and nature is described in the sciences. I was pointing out that in such sciences as ecology and biology, ecology, for example, describes and studies the relationship between all organisms and their environments. The way in which they describe human, animal, and insect behavior is in flat contradiction with the way in which most of us experience our thinking and our action and our existence. We have been brought up to experience ourselves as isolated centers of awareness and action, placed in a world that is not us, that is foreign, alien, other, which we confront. Whereas, in fact, the way an ecologist describes human behavior is as an action. What you do is what the whole universe is doing at the place you call here and now. You are something the whole universe is doing in the same way that a wave is something that the whole ocean is doing. This is not what you might call a fatalistic or deterministic idea. You see, you might be a fatalist if you think that you are a sort of puppet which life pushes around. You are separate from life, but life dominates you. That's fatalism. But in the point of view I'm expressing, the real you is not a puppet which life pushes around. The real deep down you is the whole universe. And it's doing your living organism and all its behavior. It's expressing it as a singer sings a song. We've been hoodwinked into the feeling that we exist only inside our skins. And I was showing last night that that is a hallucination. It's just as nutty as anybody could be, like a fruitcake, you know, who thinks he's Napoleon or something or other. Thinks he's a poached egg and goes around finding a piece of toast to sit on. It's just like that, a hallucination. And I was showing how we need to experience ourselves in such a way that we could say that our real body is not just what's inside the skin, but our whole total external environment. Because if we don't experience ourselves that way, we mistreat our environment. We treat it as an enemy. We try to beat it into submission. And if we do that, comes disaster. We exploit the world we live in. We don't treat it with love and gentleness and respect. We cut down millions of acres of forests to turn it into newspaper of all things. Lovely trees turned into information about nothing. And we don't replace them properly. We kick the world around in revenge, the feeling that really we are puppets which the world kicks around. So my main point last night was then that we need a new kind of consciousness in which every individual becomes aware that his real self is not just his conscious ego. You know, let's take a headlight of a car. The headlight shines on the road in front. The headlight does not shine on the wire which connects it with its own battery. So in a way, the headlight is unaware of how it shines. And in the same way, we are unaware.
Did you do horseback riding? How was your day? It's okay if you didn't do horseback riding too. But I was just excited for you. Your cat watching you do makeup was adorable. I'm trying a new thing with this pot today where I let it get hotter first and hopefully it will keep things from sticking as much. So we're gonna see how it goes.
Sources of our consciousness. We don't know how we know. There was a young man who said, though, it seems that I know that I know. What I would like to see
Damn, there's a mosquito in here.
knows me when I know that I know that I know. And so we are ignorant of, we ignore. It doesn't come within the scope of our attention. How it is that we manage to be conscious. How it is that we manage to grow our hair, to shape our bones, to beat our heart, and to secrete all the necessary fluids that we need from our glands. We do it, but we don't know how we do it. Because you see, underneath the superficial self, which pays attention to this and that, there is another self, more really us than I. And if you become aware of that unknown self, the the more you become aware of it, the more you realize that it is inseparably connected with everything else that there is. That you are a function of this total galaxy, bounded by the Milky Way.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
furthermore, this galaxy is a function.
That's awesome you were able to do that. I love it. Okay, let's see if I can. Okay, a little better than yesterday. Maybe this one first, maybe. Oops. Get off. Okay, this is better than what it's been. Still looking kind of ugly. This is what they look like. Do you know what's funny? Is that one of my, so the eggs are not looking, you know, it's better than what they were. They were just like straight up brown the other day. So this is better. I have this weird habit, and none of my exes have ever liked it. I find it so fascinating watching women do their skincare or put on makeup, and no one likes being watched apparently. And I don't mean to be watching, I'll just find myself doing it, literally exactly like Norris does. I just find it kind of mesmerizing. I guess because also it's like, when people are doing that, and I guess I've only seen women doing it, they're kind of like in flow state. Like they're just fully focused and attentive is what, it's almost like watching someone paint. And so I always have found it like kind of mesmerizing, and no one ever likes, they'll be like, can you stop watching me do that? So I guess cats are allowed to get away with it. People are usually not. These look a lot better than yesterday. Oh no. Everything's stickier though, you know. Well, once I get this seasoned, maybe it'll be, I just feel like these eggs are maybe stickier. Maybe it's because I've had these eggs longer. Like if you have 2-week-old eggs, maybe they do different. I don't know. My day's going okay. Nothing super exciting today, but it's going okay. I'm about to go to the gym, so I'm trying to get breakfast in real quick. And I went to the gym yesterday, but it was not good. I skipped my dance class yesterday because I was working on app stuff, and I was like, oh, I forgot to put salt and pepper on. Why do I keep forgetting this stuff? I'm leaving eggs. Whatever, I'm just not gonna get to that, I guess. Yeah, that's what I was realizing. I just saw your joke about, hi Miriam. I saw your joke about what? Norris gets more likes. I made another reel yesterday, and the biggest thing about getting the algorithm to watch it is people have to watch, the most amount of people, I'm sure you know this, have to watch the first 3 seconds, the skip rate. And I'm like, someone was telling me they're like, you need to get an animal, you need to get a cat or something that you can just hold in screen so I can like get people to watch for 3 seconds. Because even the one I made yesterday, I don't know, I thought it was kind of good, and the skip rate was not good enough. And it's like, I'm just not interesting enough to keep people watching for 3 seconds. What does it say? What? That's funny. Yeah, face mask is like intimate time. I've done a few of those with my ex. Not the ones like you do. I've done some like full, not very often. They're like full like mud scrub things that you put on. One of them burnt like crazy. It was like an acid peel or something. It was like a 2-part thing where you put on one layer and you put it all in, and then you put on this other layer and it like burns. And you only leave it on a little bit of time. All right, this isn't ideal, but it's better. Better than yesterday. Cast iron, we'll just see. Kind of ugly today, but it gets a little burny. I just don't want crunchy. Who wants crunchy eggs? Somehow I'm burning those bits. But I still have to eat it, whether I think it looks good or not. So that's kind of a bummer. Bon appetit, or whatever. I can't remember. I still need to look it up. Christine, what do you say in your language? It's something with a P.
Of all other galaxies. And that vast thing that you see far off, far off, far off with telescopes, and you look and look and look, one day you're going to wake up and say, why, that's me. And in knowing that, know, you see, that you never die. That you are the eternal thing that comes and goes, that appears now as John Jones, now as Mary Smith, now as Benny Brown, so it goes forever and ever and ever. Now then, why I've made this point as an introduction to what I want to say tonight is the problem of the relationship of man and nature. Do you know, in the history of philosophy, there are really 3 theories of nature.
Y'all are so sweet.
Incidentally, what do you mean when you use the word nature? What is nature study? Natural history. The Museum of Natural History. What do you expect to find there? Well, for many people, nature means the birds, the bees, and the flowers. It means everything that is not artificial. People think, for example, a building like this is not natural, it's artificial. The natural state of the human being is to be naked. But we wear clothes, and that's artificial. We build houses. Is there any difference between a human house and a wasp's nest?
There's no way I pronounce that good, but I'll take it. But I'll take it.
Not really. But we do.
Oh. Miriam, I've been having some complicated days too, so it's not just you. I wasn't online very much. I'm glad it's better now. I was having some hard times too. It is not just you. Well, it's nice to have you back here. Christine, Miriam's talking about your language. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have you back.
Our minds, you see, the idea that nature is somehow outside us. We've got some nature in us. We say there's a thing called human nature, and mostly bad. Human nature, according to Dr. Freud, is motivated by the libido. And you know what that is. And you can't trust it. In the old days, they used to beat it with whips. But Freud said, don't do it that way. You have to treat it as a good horse trainer trains a horse by giving it a lump of sugar every now and then. And get it controlled that way. Be kind to it. Respect it. Even though it's really very, very disrespectable. Well, now, there are, as I said, in the history of mankind, 3 theories of nature. The first theory is the Western theory, which is that nature is a machine or an artifact. We inherit this from the Hebrews, who believed that nature was made by God in somewhat the same way as a potter makes a pot out of clay, or a carpenter makes a table out of wood. It is not insignificant that Jesus is the son of the carpenter.
Oh, that's interesting.
Our tradition has been to look upon the world as a construct. And somebody knows how it was put together. Somebody understands. And that is the constructor, the architect, the Lord God. But it so happened that
All right, so that's
in the
one
18th
idea.
century, Western thought began to change. They became increasingly doubtful as to whether there was a maker, whether there was a God. But they continued to look upon the creation as an artifact, as a machine. And by the time of Newton, people were explaining the world in terms of mechanism. And we are still under the influence of that idea, because after all, in things like Life magazine and so on, when they give you an article on human physiology, they usually make drawings which show the human being as a kind of mechanism, as a sort of factory. And they show how the peristaltic action carries the fluid in, and how it's processed by this organ and that organ. It's just as if a certain product is fed into a factory, cow at one end, and it comes out canned corned beef at the other.
Dang, I need to start learning languages.
Just in such a way, the human is illustrated. And so too, some kinds of rather degraded medicine that is now practiced. When you go to the hospital for a medical examination, you are treated as a machine. They process you. You're not a person. You're put in a wheelchair immediately. Even if you were perfectly healthy and can walk, nevertheless they have to have you in this wheelchair. And they put you through a process.
Jesus.
And the heart specialist looks only at your heart because he can't understand anything else. The otorhinolaryngologist, which means an ear, nose, and throat man, looks at that section of you, and he doesn't know about anything else. And maybe a psychiatrist takes a look at you, and goodness knows what happens there. And so on and so on. Everybody looks at you from their specialized point of view, as if they were a bunch of mechanics examining your automobile. Because, as I said last night, we just asked for this. Because most of us consider ourselves as chauffeurs inside our bodies, which we own in the same way as you own a car. And when it goes wrong, you take it to the mechanic to fix it. you don't really identify with your body, just as you don't really identify with your car. So here is this whole theory of nature, which has grown up in the West as an artifact, something made. Now let me take a second theory of nature. This is an Indian theory. East Indian.
This will be interesting.
Nature not as an artifact, but as drama.
Okay. Poftabuna. So I know one thing. There's
Basic
another.
to all Hindu thought is.
I don't want to talk over this because this is probably. Miriam, you're gonna love it. Sorry, I'll get back to that. I know there's a thing after if you say Poftabuna and then you say something back, but I can't remember what the second part of it is. So that will be good to know. Miriam, you are going to love, I think you're going to love that book. Also, this guy, Alan Watts, is kind of talking about some of this, where a lot of our, and I didn't even really think about it this way until I was making this video about Ishmael the other day. A lot of our depression and dissatisfaction and problems arise from the idea in our brains that says, I'm other. There's everything, and then there's me. And me trying to make myself separate, either like humans from nature, or me as a human from other humans, or just like me as opposed to like life. Like life's happening and then there's... Oh, that isn't what you told me the other day, Christine. Multum la fel. Multimesc la fel. Okay. I'm screenshotting this so I can try and remember it. Anyway, I hope you love it. You're going to, but yeah.
Idea that the world is Maya. That is a Sanskrit word which means many things. It means magic, illusion, art, play. All the world's a stage. And in the Hindu idea, there is the ultimate reality of the universe is the self, which they call Brahman or Atman. That's what there is. The self, universal, eternal, boundless, indescribable. And everything that happens, happens on the self. Like you say, it's on me. The drinks tonight are on me.
Drinks are on
or
me.
like we say, when you hear the radio, it's on the speaker. You see, everything you hear on the radio, flutes, drums, human voices, traffic noises, any imaginable sound, all those sounds are vibrations of the diaphragm in the speaker.
Okay.
But the radio doesn't tell you
Thank
that.
you.
The announcer doesn't come on and say every morning, "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, this is KQED. The following sounds that you are going to hear are vibrations of the diaphragm in your speaker." And they're not really human voices or musical instruments, but just that. They never let you in on that. And in exactly the same way, the universe doesn't let you in on the truth that all sense experiences are vibrations of the self. Not just yourself, but the self. And all of us share this self in common because it is pretending to be all of us. Brahman, the ultimate principle, plays hide and seek eternally. And he does it for unspeakably long periods of time. The Hindus measure time in what is called a kalpa, K-A-L-P-A. That's 4,320,000 years. Don't take this seriously. It's not meant to be taken literally. But just for an unspeakably long time, the Brahman, the self, pretends that it's lost and is us. And all our adventures and all our troubles and all our agonies and tragedies. It gets mixed up. Then after the period of 4,320,000 years has elapsed, there is a catastrophe. The universe is destroyed in fire. And after that, the Brahman wakes up and says, well, good, crazy, what an adventure that was. He wipes the sweat off his brow and says, whew, let's rest a while. So for another 4,320,000 years, the divine self rests and knows who it is. It's me. Then it says, well, this is rather boring. Let's get going again. Let's get mixed up. And it does it in a very strange way because the way the Hindus...
You worked in Germany and Poland. Been to Italy, but don't really like Italian.
The first period of getting mixed up, getting lost, is beautiful. That's the longest period. Everything's right. It's just life is glorious. Then it has the next period in which things get a little wonky. Something is vaguely out of order. That doesn't last so long. Then the next period, the third, is when good and evil are equally balanced. And that's still not so long. Finally comes the shortest period when everything bad triumphs and the whole thing blows up and we begin all over again. We're supposed to be living in that now. It's what's called the Kali Yuga, the age of darkness. And it began on Friday, February the 23rd, 3123 BC. And it has 5,000 years to run. But as it goes on, time gets faster, so don't worry. So you see, that's a theory of nature as a drama. It's a play. Now there's a third theory of nature.
Thank you.
Which is Chinese. And this is very interesting.
Now here's the Chinese theory of nature.
The Chinese word for nature, they call ziran. And this expression means of itself so. What happens of itself. Or we might say spontaneity. It almost means automatic, because automatic is what is self-moving. Only we associate the word automatic with machinery. But ziran, what is so of itself, is associated in the Chinese mind not with machinery, but with biology. Your hair grows by itself. You don't have to think how to grow it. Your heart beats by itself. You don't have to make up your mind how to beat it. That's what they mean by nature. The poem says, sitting quietly, doing nothing, spring comes and grass grows of itself. So their principle of nature is called a Tao. T-A-O, pronounced Dao in the Mandarin dialect, Tao in the Shanghai dialect, To in the Cantonese dialect. Take your choice. Tao means the course of nature. And Lao Tzu, who was a philosopher who lived a little later than 400 BC, wrote a book about the Tao. And he said, the Tao which can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. You can't describe it. He said the principle of the Tao is spontaneity. He said the great Tao flows everywhere, both to the left and to the right. It loves and nourishes all things, but does not lord it over them. It accomplishes merits and lays no claim to them. So there is a very great difference between the Chinese idea of Tao as the informing principle of nature and the Judeo-Christian idea of God as nature's Lord and Master. Because the Tao does not act as a boss. In the Chinese philosophy of nature, nature has no boss. There is no principle that forces things to behave the way they do. It is a completely democratic theory of nature. Correspondingly, you see, most Westerners, whether they be Christians or non-Christians, don't trust nature. Of all things, nature is the thing least to be trusted. You must manage it. You must watch out for it. It will always go wrong if you don't watch out. You know, the goblins will get you if you don't watch out. So we're always feeling that you can't trust it. See, we're absolutely instilled with the idea of original sin. You can't trust nature because it comes out with weeds and insects. And above all, you can't trust human nature because if you don't hold a club over yourself, you'll go out and rape your grandmother.
Jesus.
Now the Chinese would say, if you can't trust yourself, you can't trust anything. Because if you can't trust yourself, can you trust your mistrust of you?
This is an Alan Watts. Y'all are too cute, just for the record. This is Alan Watts speaking. He is like a philosopher, teacher from he's really big in the 60s and 70s. I think he's dead. I think he's pretty dope and says good stuff. I also think I said this yesterday or maybe it was today. He kind of sounds like a good Captain Hook. Alan Watts. Christine, are you going to the Netherlands for vacate for fun? Or for work or what? How long are you going for? One of the other things I like about Alan Watts is that he's kind of soothing to listen to. And when I have his voice going, my brain isn't going. It's I'd rather listen to what he has to say than what my brain does.
Is that well-founded? If you can't trust yourself, you are totally mixed up. You haven't a leg to stand on, you haven't a point of departure for anything. And in this respect, the Taoist philosophy and the Confucian philosophy are in agreement.
Still sleeping on just a mattress? It's time to add the pod. The pod is a smart cover that enhances the bed you already have.
I don't even have a mattress. Okay. This is good. I need to remember to get coffee today.
Han Dynasty master said,
actually, I need to. This is probably about time for goodbye today because I need to go to the gym. I haven't set a direction yet, but I'll do it at the gym, I think. So you're gonna know. You're going for work. Interesting. You gotta have a job starting December. New laws passed. No kidding. Okay. I hope it works out well. Honestly, whatever comes up for you, I'm sure. I mean, having the change probably isn't always great, but I'm sure you'll be able to handle whatever comes up. You have that type of spirit. Yeah. All right. I gotta get to it. I'm gonna join my buddy at the gym and actually do a little bit of workout today, which will be good. Thanks for spending time with me today. It makes my days so much better having y'all's company, having your company. So Thank you. Hope you have a good night. Each of you. Well, actually, I shouldn't say bye yet because I don't have a way to stop this, so I need to go over to my computer. I'll do that awkward long goodbye. I haven't been to any of these places. I need to go to the Netherlands. All right. Till next time. Tomorrow.